I know. This is ridiculous. I
Dr. Benitez, are you able to hear us online?
Yes,
All right, thank you. We can hear you as well.
very good.
All right, hello, everybody. Welcome to the next fabulous Board of Education regular meeting. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Dr. Yarborough will be joining us in several minutes, so I'll be chairing in his stead until that time. First items on the agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll go ahead and start with that. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So next item is public participation. If you are waiting online, if you raise your hand, they will know that you are wishing to speak tonight in public participation. Before we do that, I will read our standard statement. And that is, welcome to the Board of Education regular meeting. Regular meetings are a time for the board to conduct its business. As a Board of Education, we're here to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. The board may hear public participation for up to 60 minutes. Public participation shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. One speaker cannot yield their time to another speaker. There'll be no responses this evening to any questions or concerns raised. They will be referred to the administration for review. And finally, as adults, we serve as positive role models for our students. Please be respectful of people. We ask speakers not to make defamatory comments or use abusive or vulgar language. So we are ready to begin. Can somebody call the first names? We'll start with the people here in-house before we move online.
Yes, we'll call Tyler A. I don't want to mispronounce the last name.
This one. All right. Good morning, Board of Education. I'm here because there's a movement in the state of Connecticut, I think, to make the holiday of Eid a school holiday in a lot of the school districts. This isn't about Islam. This is about, I think, having reasonable principles for establishing school holidays. I've lived in Connecticut for about probably 25 years. And so I have a sense of what the demographics, I think, are. I realize there's a growing Muslim population, but it doesn't seem like it's sufficient. And so I don't know if, I realize this, that the city of New Haven has already declared Eid a holiday, but I think it should probably roll it back and have some sort of standard for when you make a holiday. So that's my comment.
Who is next?
Dennis Tondalo.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dennis Tondelo, and I'm the building manager at Conti West Hills School. I have proudly served for New Haven Public School System for the last 25 years and the last 17 years dedicated to Conti West Hills School. I'm here tonight to advocate for the necessary and long overdue repairs for the Conti School pool. This project has been directly involved. I've been directly involved with it since the year 2020, when the pool was shut down due to serious safety concerns, including water leaking into the basement, deteriorating concrete walls, and at this time it was clear that the close down the operation of the pool was very important at this time for the safety and for the safety of the students and staff. In October 2022, a contract was put out to bid and awarded in the amount of $538,000. However, that contractor was never properly executed, and the project did not move forward as planned. It was later rebid and approved in July 1st, 2023 for $594,000. Since that time, some progress has been made. A new vinyl liner system was installed, and an approach that I recommended due to the extensive tile damage and difficulty identifying the exact source of the leaks. In addition, the pool deck was resurfaced using a heavier duty epoxy pour, which improved pitch towards the floor drains and also helped addressing some of the prior slipping concerns and hazards. However, despite these improvements, the pool remains non-operational today. One of the major concerns I want to bring to your attention is that the scope of work outlined in the approved contract did not fully address the critical repairs that were identified early on. I personally communicated these needs to both the prior project manager and the current facilities management team, now ABM. These outstanding issues included, but are not limited to, replacing the filtration system, the balance tank being replaced, the necessary locker room repairs and renovations, and the repair to the HVAC system and dehumidification system. These systems are essential to not only the functioning, but for the safety, for particularly controlling chlorine gases and preventing long-term structural and equipment deterioration within the pool area. Without addressing these core components, with risking investment and significant funds into the project that remains incomplete, underperforming, and potentially unsafe. This pool is more than just the facilities. It's a resource for our students and our staff that broaden the community. But if we are going to invest in bringing it back, we must do it the right way, not halfway. At this point, the issue is no longer whether the pool can be fixed. It's whether we are going to, and whether and willing to
That's
finish
time.
what we have started to do do it responsibly. I urge the board to take decisive action to ensure this project is completed fully, safely, and with accountability for our students, staff, and the community deserves. Thank you for your time.
Kim Rogers. Our next speaker is Kim Rogers. She is an online attendee.
Good evening, confirming that you can hear me.
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Members of the Education Committee. I come before you today as a library media specialist in New Haven Public Schools to talk about access, specifically access to books, to information, and to equitable learning opportunities for our students. This week on our school vacation, I brought home one book, Trans History from Ancient Times to the Present Day, a graphic novel by Alex Coombs and Andrew Eckhart. This book costs $24.99. Based on the reduced funding allocated to our school libraries this year, this is what I could afford to purchase to represent the needs of all 10 board members. One book. Now imagine I told you this is the only book available to you. If you don't like graphic novels, I can't help you. If the content doesn't meet your educational needs, I can't fix that. If you are a multi-language learner and need materials in another language, I can't fix that. If this reading level is too easy or possibly too difficult, I can't fix that. And if you are hoping to read for joy, perhaps a novel or something engaging to your life specifically, you are out of luck. This is the reality we are creating for our students. Recently, in New Haven Independent article, NHPS buys 10,000 class books. Superintendent Negron shared that $180,000 would place books into 73 classrooms. While that investment is appreciated, those resources did not extend to the 8 high schools that do have libraries, nor to the certified professionals who curate and teach to ensure access. Libraries are not just collections, they are systems of access. Through intentional systems of circulation and accountability, we ensure materials are shared, tracked, and returned so that they remain continuously accessible to all students, not limited to one group or one moment. At the same time, library budgets have been reduced dramatically. My own budget at Metro was cut from approximately $2,700 to $900. Just days ago, we received a message celebrating library media specialists, thanking us for inspiring curiosity, fostering the love of reading, guiding research, and creating welcoming spaces. It recognized that we help students discover the right book, teach digital literacy, and support lifelong learning. Those words are appreciated, but appreciation without investment limits our ability to deliver on that mission. We cannot foster a love of reading without books. We cannot support diverse learners without books. We cannot build equitable schools while underfunding most equitable resource we have in school libraries. Your message to us as librarians is libraries are not a luxury, but a necessity of life. I urge you to align your words with your actions, restore and protect library funding, ensuring that every student in every school has access not only to fully funded, but fully staffed libraries, because one book is not enough. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
All right, thank you, and thank you to the people that participated in public comment. We'll move into our action items. The first is approval of special board special meeting minutes of March 2026. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been moved by Dr. Joyner and seconded by Dr. Benitez. Are there any comments or corrections? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer.
Yes.
All right, Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez.
Yes.
Yeah, students are not here, and I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. So we will move on to the next item 3.02. Do I have a motion to approve the board regular meeting minutes of March 23, 2026?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, it was moved by Mr. Juarez, seconded by Dr. Joyner. Are there any comments or corrections? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. So moving on to the next item is the personnel report. Dr. Negron?
Good evening, board. Before I ask for your approval of the personnel report, I do want to highlight 2 retirements that are noted. I will start with Eden Stein, integrated language arts teacher, retiring at the end of June 30th to be exact. And she has dedicated a total of 26 years to our district, supporting students, families, and the entire community. And last but not least, I also want to acknowledge the retirement of the principal from our Family Academy Multilingual Exploration, Marisol Rodriguez, who will also retire on June 30th, 2026. after serving 25 years in the district in numerous roles. And with that, I hereby ask for approval of tonight's personnel report.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the superintendent's personnel report.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. It was moved by Dr. Joyner, seconded by Dr. Benitez. We'll go ahead and, are there comments or questions? Hearing, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. So next item are the Finance and Operations Committee action items. Before I get started, is there anything anyone would like to move separately? And I just also to let you know, we will be moving the certifications, both of those individually. So Dr. Benitez, your hand's up.
Yes, first I want to acknowledge the retiree.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Miss Marisol is currently a principal, but what we must say, she was a New Haven Public School student, was a resident of Fairhaven all of her life, continues to be a resident. Her mom was our employee when she was working and worked at the former Columbus, which is now Fame. And Miss Marisol started at Columbus as a teacher and moved on to become a coach and an assistant principal, and then returned home to Fame as a principal. I want to acknowledge that she has been a long-standing service educator in New Haven and someone who is part of the Fairhaven community, and very much appreciated her and her family. I also would like to, well, that's okay. No, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Benitez. So hearing, seeing nothing else on this, we'll go ahead and vote on these. Just before we do that, a quick question for our attorney, Mr. Barrera. Is the preference that I read the entire thing that's listed on the agenda for the certifications? Was that the final ruling, safest thing? Okay, thank you. So we're going to do item 10.01 first, and that is I move that we approve the healthy food certification pursuant to CGS section 10-215F. The NHBOE certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's seconded by Dr. Joyner. Is there any comments or discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. Next, I move that moving on to 10.02. I move that we approve the healthy food certification statement addendum to an agreement for the child nutrition programs, and that the New Haven Board of Education will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards, provided that the following conditions are met. One, the sale is in connection with the event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. Two, the sale is at the location of the event. And three, the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food sales. The HFC statement is part of the Connecticut State Department of Education's online application and claiming systems for child nutrition programs. Hard copies of the form are no longer required, but statement must be presented and approved by vote from the School District Board of Education. Do I have a second?
Second.
And seconded by Dr. Benitez. Is there any comments, discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. And finally, the main motion. I move that we approve the 3 agreements, the 4 amendments, the 2 purchase orders, the 8 contracts, and the 4 change orders as outlined on our agenda. And seconded by Dr. Joyner. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Joyner? Yes. Dr. Benitez?
I was raising my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a,
Just a very quick thing. I just need, I have a question about the lab, Branford. I mean, I'm voting yes, but I need clarification on how, is this something that's going to provide training for our school staff and truancy staff, or this is only support with the children and the family?
which item are you referring to, please?
I'm sorry, 11.01,
All right, one moment.
agreement with the lab, Branford. Right, outreach and case management, but I also saw that there's some professional development involving this agreement.
Do we have someone that can answer?
Yeah, we have Dr. Joseph Lumpkin. Dr. Joseph Lumpkin can offer more details.
Thank you.
Dr. Benitez, thank you for the question. The professional development requires the lab to participate in NHPS professional development.
Oh, they don't provide professional development.
Not to our staff. They participate. They
participate.
are required to participate in professional development provided by the district, as we require all of our community partners who are working with our students, particularly those who are doing home visiting and supporting attendance. They must go through our mandatory, as well as Connecticut State Department of Education professional PD.
And so the service they will be provided is an additional service or support service for our truancy staff.
Our highest need students, correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Dr. Joseph Lumpkin, and my apologies, Dr. Benitez, for not seeing your hand when it was raised. So is there any other comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Joyner?
Yes.
Dr. Benitez?
Yes.
Ms. Downer?
Yes.
Mayor Elicker?
Yes.
Mr. Juarez?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. The motion carries.
I'm here, Mr. Wilcox.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. Yarborough.
Yes, thank you.
All right, now the motion carries. And we will move on. The students are not here, so we'll move on to superintendent's report, and I'm handing the meeting back to Dr. Yarborough after that. All right. All right.
All right, thank you. Before I begin with the updates for this evening, I just want to make sure that I did not mishear the information during public comment. But I want to make sure that I go back to the reference to the $180,000 investment that we made with a partnership with Scholastics to equip every single ELA classroom across all of our high schools inclusive of Metropolitan Academy. Those deliveries started on March 18th, and they concluded at Hill Regional Career on March 31st. I want to highlight that that was a project led by Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, Ms. Keisha Red Hannons, working in partnership with classroom teachers who donated their time to curate a list of titles to ensure that there was a diverse classroom library that will go again into all of our ELA classrooms across the entire district, inclusive of Metropolitan Academy. That is an investment that both Ms. Keisha Red Hannons and I are extremely proud of and grateful to Scholastics for the great deal that they gave us on those materials. Sharing another piece of great news, I have invited Eric Pachowski, and I believe we have some guests that will be joining him because we want to make sure that we are sharing with the entire public that very soon we are now going to be adding hockey to physical education classes. But at this time, I want to turn it over to Eric Pachowski, who I believe is online.
I'm online. I'm on. Thank you. Did you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So for the last few years, we've been working very diligently on more access and equity for our students in physical education. 2 years ago, we added that bike program, which teaches bike riding to all second graders in the city over a year. For the last several years, I've been in discussion with Sal and Mark DeCola about bringing hockey back to New Haven. This has been a 10-year journey as far as the sports thing, but we were able to begin a Learn to Skate program through our Project Pride classes. We collaborated with PAL, and they have a hockey program at our rink. And we also have hockey players from Albertus come in and assist us with that. We were able to secure a co-op so that when we do have hockey-ready players, they will be able to participate. We have that with East Haven High School. But talking to Sal and talking to Ed and to Jeff, who all three are on, we knew that there needed to be more. Hockey is one of the most expensive sports there is to play, and lots of times our kids have no access to it or experience with it. They were able to go out, and I'm going to let them talk about it a little bit in a few minutes, and secure funding to supply floor hockey equipment to every single one of our schools in New Haven. The equipment actually came in a few weeks ago, and Sal came and helped us unpack it, separate it, and our physical education teachers, for the most part, have picked it up. We're also going to be doing, they're going to be coming in for our professional development, and they're going to be doing training with our phys ed teachers so that skills are taught correctly. So exciting time, because if kids do have an interest in it outside of physical education class, we have opportunity for skating lessons, learn to skate, learn to play hockey. We're very excited to get this started. We will be starting it in a couple schools this spring, and then across the entire district in the fall after the training. If Sal or Mark or Jeff want to speak, I believe they're on also.
Hi, hello. Mark, are you on, Mark? You got to put the audio on. Well, I'll start it off. Our brother and I and our friend Jeff Russell have secured a benefactor. Everything will be free to New Haven. This will be no cost to the Board of Ed or any taxpayer. We are standing by our goal to mentor, teach, and achieve with our children in New Haven that they could play hockey and to learn a different sport. And that's why under Mayor Harp's administration, she saved the rink. So now we're going to take it to the next level. And with Eric's help, I see you're on, Mark. Do you want to talk?
If you don't mind, I know we only have 3 minutes.
Go ahead.
My name is Mark DeCola. I'm just retired from the city of New Haven for 25 years, but everybody knows me as a hockey person. I want to say thank you for taking the time, and Eric, and thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. I want to make something very clear. In, I believe the year 2016, Mayor Hart and I had a meeting regarding the Ralph Walker rink. And she asked me, Mark, if we invest into the rink, because it was a lot of money at the time, will the kids come? And I said to her, and I promised her that we would make this work. We are in our 3rd year now with the New Haven POW program, the Park and Rec program, Project Pride. And at this time, we have over 125 kids involved in learn to skate, learn to play hockey. But I'm going to just say this to you. We have other beautiful news coming. I don't know if Eric is going to bring that up regarding the funding or the donations that we're receiving, that Park and Rec is going to now have roller hockey in the parks. And hopefully we're looking to put one on the east side in the East Shore Park, one on the west side I would love to see Edgewood Park come back to some type of hockey, because back in the day when I was a child, we used to skate in the Edgewood Park area. The third one is the Ralph Walker rink. Right now, we have bids out for new management that I'm hoping to be part of selecting, because I think it's critical, besides having ice hockey, of using that facility 12 months out of the year where we could have public rollerblading, floor hockey, and other activities for our kids. And I'll leave you on this. There's a bigger game of the game of hockey. And I say this because hockey saved my life. I was an inner city kid. I lost my father when I was 6 years old. And as my brother just said, the funding will not be any cost to the city's taxpayer. And I believe it's critical for us to have an opportunity to give these kids a sport, to have an opportunity to play besides a normal, as they say in inner city, football, baseball, basketball. To have a child, to have opportunity to play a sport of hockey or just figure skating would be a wonderful thing for us to have for our kids of New Haven. With that said, I'll pass it on to anybody else, but thank you so much. And Mayor Elicker and I have spoken, and I always would like to say to Mayor Elicker, thank you for supporting me as you always have in the past. Thank you.
So, if any board members have questions that they need to ask, we're very transparent, and this is not a one-time. We'll be coming back to the Board of Education meetings on a regular basis, just like the Parks Commission, updating you as we proceed forward with these programs. So if anybody's got any questions, we're here to answer them.
All right, thank you. Dr. Joyner?
I actually have comments, because this is an object lesson of what a great system we have despite our critics. When I saw the Jamaican bobsled team, there was no doubt in my mind that they would do well, because the type of skills that it takes to do well in bobsledding are the same kind of skills it takes to be a great sprinter, a dedicated athlete, and a focused person. And so there's not a single sport on the planet that is outside the capability of any human being that's willing to put the time in, learn the sport. As a child growing up in the segregated South, every time I turn around, people were talking about what people that look like me couldn't do. They said, well, Black people can't drive trains. And Dick Gregory said, all you do is follow the tracks. Black people couldn't fly. Well, the Tuskegee Airmen made that very clear. And there were things said about Italian Americans, Latino Americans, and other ethnic groups, even things that handicapped kids do now. At a time, it was said they couldn't do those things. And so Tim Shriver's family created the Special Olympics and showed that that was not true. But more than anything, the hard and sustained efforts of the DeCola brothers. And Eric Pachowski and the benefactors is an indication of what we have to do if we're gonna continue to improve this country, to make it more inclusive and to give children especially a wider range of opportunities. So we should export this to every aspect of how we operate as a school system. And also help kids understand that if you're willing to put in the time, there's a whole lot more that you can do for yourself. And to build this whole notion of self-efficacy, self-help, and the type of interpersonal qualities that you have to attract people to you to help you in the first place. Being respectful, courteous, and dedicated. So to the DeCola brothers, in the memory of your mother and your father, they actually produced wonderful sons. There are other members of the family as well. And I can't say enough for the hard work and dedication and kindness that you poured into this, as well as the vision and leadership of one of my favorite physical education and health department administrators, Eric Pachowski. So thank you so much for this. And I hope that we all can learn from this example and try to repeat it in any way that we deem necessary. Even a small thing can add up to something large. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Downer?
Yes, I want to say thank you to everyone that's going to put this together. One of the things that's going to help with New Haven Public School is, being able to provide a feeder system to competitive hockey, and New Haven PAL and everyone that's involved. Thank you to the DeCola brothers, continuing the legacy of their parents. I think this is definitely going to enhance our school engagement. Providing free equipment, ice time, anything like that is going to definitely structure, have a more structure, help us with structuring these after school activities, especially introducing hockey. Thank you again. And hopefully, like I said, it's definitely for the betterment of improving academic performance and school engagement. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dr. Benitez?
So I wanted to thank the Nicola brothers, but I think what a great example for the rest of the community. When we see a need and we have the needs that we have with our budget, but if we see a need as a community member and we can provide for students experiences without an expense to the Board of Ed or to the New Haven Public Schools, it's something that we all should step up to do. I still remember years ago, and I'm not saying teachers need to do anything for free. It wasn't just teachers, but at the former Columbus, now Fame, we had a theater program with no funding, and myself, teachers, parents, and students showed up every Saturday, and we were able to create a beautiful theater program. So what I'm saying is, people, if you see a need, take this example of these two people who are saying, here I am, I'm part of this community, and I'm going to do something for these children. That is what we all should be thinking about. Thank you again to both of you and to Eric.
Thank you. Mayor Elicker?
Just want to reiterate, I really appreciate the efforts of Mark and Sal and Jeff and Eric on this. Eric and I have been talking for quite some time about making hockey more accessible to people that may not have this as part of their family kind of tradition and may not have the financial capability to buy all the equipment. So this is really exciting, and we're looking forward to partnering with you all.
I'll just add that, yes, thank you very much for this. And I did hear about this, I think, at our last Teaching and Learning Committee meeting. And I have to admit that I was at first a little wary because, as the saying goes, there's free as in free beer and also free puppies. But what was wonderful to hear and it was alluded to tonight also, was every part of this has been thought through. I really appreciate the DeColas and working with school district and with Eric and coming up with like all the pain points, all the things for future problems that could end up costing the district money have all been covered and all been thought of. And so it's that combination, as one of my colleagues was just mentioning, about people coming together, seeing a need, wanting something in the schools, and then, but also going that extra next steps of hearing the school's concerns and coming up, working through all the possible problems so that this is not, the free puppy and then we're on our own, but it's funding for the life of the puppy and then some. And so, so I just really appreciate the fullness of the program. So thank you very much.
I thank you for listening to us. We have boards secure for the west side. Boston College took our bid and gave us all the boards free. So when we do Westville, the boards, glass and everything, we're having them stored right now. So we already have products. So other areas are watching what we're doing right now and they're starting to support us. So this is all good. It's still early in the stages. That's why we're a phone call away. We need to come in front of the board again. We will come and answer any questions that you hear or doubt. We are here to be transparent as much as possible. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Before I turn it back to you, Dr. Negron, Ms. Downer, your hand's raised. Is that from before or do you have another comment?
Well, I have another comment. I just wanted to, I forgot to mention to thank Eric Petrowski. He does a great work in our athletic department. So I just wanted to give him the kudos.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Negron?
Thank you. Next, we are going to make a presentation because we are going to be seeking a vote in order to move in the direction that we will be presenting to you this evening. For that, Dr. White will be joining us. I just want to make sure that he has a full connection to be able to do so. Dr. White, will you be sharing your screen? We also have the presentation just in case. Oh, it looks like he does.
I will be sharing, it should be sharing right now.
You can get out of it now.
Can you place that on slideshow view?
Yep.
There you go.
Okay. Good evening, board and public. I wanted to present tonight a plan for us transitioning to our self-operated facilities management. For many years now, we have outsourced our facilities management. And as we look towards our path to excellence around operational efficiencies, this has been an area that there's been a lot of talk on. I'd like to thank Ms. Downer for frequently pushing on the issue of what things can be brought back in-house, how that can be done, and to look at things in a different way. Through that and working with Dr. Negron and looking at what we could possibly do, I'm here to present us moving our facilities management services back in-house. So currently, it's been outsourced. We started our recent commitment with this current contractor in July of 2022. The contract calls for almost $2 million annually. This is for 14 positions. And the challenge is the fixed corporate overhead management fees. It limits our ability to scale the services, particularly now while we have many financial challenges. And we're looking at this as an opportunity to create more flexible services and particularly increase internal oversight where we have people working very hard and working within our system and our employees and are responsible to us Dr. Negron and the board as a whole total and our public as we try to improve our management of facilities. Right now, what I am showing is the current structure of the facilities department. One thing I do note, while it has me at the top of the chart, also this is just one of multiple departments that I supervise, but we are focusing today on facilities management. So everything that is in blue represents New Haven Public School employees. Everything in yellow represents the management company as well as the subcontracted company we use to do our part-time custodial. So I realize this is small, so this includes an account manager, assistant director, a custodial director, an environmental manager, sustainability manager, night supervisor, and HVAC and building management system supervisor and a grounds and roofing supervisor, as well as the contract has the building manager and assistant building managers for our largest buildings, Hill House, Cross, and Korea, as part of their staff. What I am proposing is that we move to a different structure, which is represented here. In this, everything that is in green is positions being brought in-house. Everything in blue represents what exists within our structure already. So right now we are looking for a director of facilities who'd be managing overall the department. We'd have a district supervisor, and everywhere that has the 3144, these would be 3144 union positions. And these are titles that exist currently in the city of New Haven and within the structure of this. So our district supervisor would be managing our custodial staff. We're also working on the warehousing, bringing in, making sure that we're having the management of supplies and those activities. Our night supervisor would be managing the evening staff as well as the part-time staff that would be part of our structure. Our admin and finance person would be working in what's equivalent of on ABM side as the assistant director, and this would be the positions such as working on moves, permitting, and some of our billing. Our project manager would be working on all of the special projects within our district. For example, some of installation of HVAC units. We had the installation going on currently at Co-op, which involves coordinating multiple things. Besides a vendor coming in, it also requires coordination of when a crane is going to be brought in to load these things on top of the building, and working through what impact this could have, because it would have required possibly closing, blocking out Crown or College for a period of time, so that it impacts the city. So all of our projects are multi-level and require a lot of work. This person would also be working with our trades. You will also see that in the structure, we'd be bringing on 4 additional trades people. We'd be looking at 2 more carpenters, another electrician, and another steam fitter, so that we could expand the amount of work that we do. We would have the HVAC tech working with the business building management system, and bring on a ground supervisor, which is exactly the person who works with our departments to make sure that the playgrounds are safe, grounds around our buildings are maintained, and would be working with our contractors on those, both during the winter time for snow removal, during the spring and fall for landscaping, and any other issues. This is the person who also works on things such as when there's graffiti on our buildings, work on getting that removed. we have an account for, we continue to have someone in that position, as well as other positions, because the finances required, so there would be that opportunity to, in addition to admin and finance, we would still need an accountant because the volume of things that come through. We have our environmental and sustainability person, environmental, working on the issues such as if there's leaks or there's possible mold. This is a person who will be working to get that assessed, properly tested, and remediated so that we do not have issues affecting our students and staff. And I believe I hit all of the positions at this point. Of course, we still have our custodial engineers, our building managers, and our assistant building managers, and they are represented in Local 287. I went over some of the positions that I went over some of the responsibilities across the positions, but just to reiterate, the department head director would be budget oversight, preparing our requests for credentials or requests for proposals, purchasing coordination. Custodial supervisor works on supplies, payroll, vehicles, and custodial supervision, as well as the night supervisor working in that capacity. The maintenance functions would be handled through our custodial engineers or trades, HVAC, tech. And as we move on, I talked briefly about our finance, moving quotes, processing, all of our purchasing, all of those things between our admin and finance and our accounting clerks would make, our accountants would make that happen. And then our environmental program, having health and safety and anything towards energy conservation, such as the projects that we've had with replacing our lighting in buildings to more sustainable, that would not cost as much to energize our buildings. And I talked briefly about project management for all of our larger capital projects and things that happen throughout the district. Now, here is a proposed realignment of the budget related to this. This is estimating what you see here are the positions that would be coming into our budget. As I mentioned, we'd be bringing back over our 3 building managers, assistant building managers, adding 4 tradespeople, the project manager, and all of the other positions. This would total approximately $1.5 million. And looking at what our current agreement is, taking that away could potentially offer savings in the range of I wish it was 4 points, but in the range of $446,000. And as we move forward, this would be forming a team to work on the transition. We would be meeting with ABM to do a very short transition contract. We'd be posting, working with the civil service timeline to get positions in. Data collection, make sure we transfer all documents and all ownerships to New Haven Public Schools to make sure that work orders, BMS systems and such are in place. A thorough review of the status of all projects so that there's no gap during the transition in any of these. And of course, meeting with our vendors about what this transition will be and what reporting structures will go forward from there. Following that will be hiring in accordance with civil service guidelines, orient and onboarding of staff, and professional learning, ongoing professional learning, both for staff that has already been with us, but also for our new staff to make sure everything is in order for them to perform their jobs to the best of their ability. And then the ultimate goal is to manage and improve our ability to maintain our buildings. And we'd of course be doing quarterly reporting progress monitoring and making sure we are moving in the right direction for our district. And I will stop share so we can discuss.
Yes, at this time, we would like to open it up for questions.
All right, Mr. Juarez?
Dr. White, with the almost $2 million that are currently contracted or have been yearly, does this number only represent staffing costs, or are there services involved? For example, I mean, does this include, like, for example, the snow removal? Are we?
No, this was only staff they were managing all of those aspects. So all of that management would be managed through NHPS staff now.
So the $2 million is just for staff, for management staff. It does not include any of the supplies or equipment or.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Dr. Joyner?
First of all, let me thank you for the diligence and detail that it's really your calling card. And I was always told that God is in the detail. I didn't worry about the devil. I think the cost benefit factor here is not just the money, but our willingness to accept the fact that unionization in this country has always been a guardrail against tyranny and exploitation. And if you don't believe that, if you're descended from slaves like I was, obviously slaves didn't have unions, and my ancestors, when they were freed, did not have unions, and they were not paid minimum wage because there was a policy in place that said that agricultural workers on small farms could only earn what they could negotiate with the small farm owner. So Southern landowners divided up their lands into small parcels and gave it to their children so that my great-grandparents and my grandparents had to work for half of what the minimum wage was. So I'm unapologetically pro-union. But all of that has to be mediated by ethics and morality. So the only way you're gonna stop out-of-control capitalists that make profits and have tax advantages that are better than the ones that we have, the only way that you're gonna continue to build a middle class is to unionize this country and to make sure that the leaders you elect are ethically and rationally driven and understand that a public school district like ours is at the mercy of the revenue that we get from higher authorities. And of course, that revenue is generated by the taxes that we pay. It's not like somebody woke up one morning and said, I got all this money, that's my money, that people have to come to me and decide how I'm gonna spend it. We pay state taxes, we pay sales taxes, we pay federal taxes. No government can function without taxes. And so we need unions and public employees to unify in a way that presses for what is fair and appropriate instead of dividing ourselves. And we need to do that 24/7 and not just wait until it's time to negotiate a contract. We need to have an influence over who's elected at every elected position and whether or not they're willing to appropriate sufficient funding to run our public institutions. We need to not wait until it's time to vote to have them come down and talk to us about these issues. We need to be talking to them as often as is necessary. And in the case of this school system, we have given the state not credible. We've given the state sufficient evidence to know that for the past 10 years, and it's longer than that, that we have not received the funding that has kept pace with inflation, and that virtually all of our employees are underpaid. But yet, if a city like ours does not consider the fact that the city has operating costs, and that we have potholes, and we have snow removal challenges, and that we have infrastructure that those of us who live in the city have to support, and that we cannot afford to quarrel among ourselves, to fight among ourselves, when we know that the problem is insufficient appropriation for our school system and our city. It's a fact. So the question is, if it is a fact, if it's the truth, then how do you act on the truth? Do you ignore it? Do you try to invent fabrications to say, well, it ain't so? Or do you simply confess that, listen, I know we've not kept pace with inflation. I know that we're not honoring our education cost sharing, but I'm not going to give you the amount of money that is warranted as a result of the facts. Just tell us. I don't think you deserve it. But yet I'll come to your cities, I'll eat in your restaurants, I'll go to your colleges, I'm under the protection of your police department and your fire department when I'm in your city. But I'm not going to give you the money you need that by any stretch of the imagination, the figures indicate that you should have. And then we're going to forget about all that and quarrel among ourselves and criticize the system, in some cases lying about not having sufficient books, certain types of books, and so on and so forth, or not knowing and making statements without making sure you check to see that it's true. And quite frankly, we can't allow ourselves to continue to be played like this. We're being played. We're being played. And I want to say a special thanks, particularly related to this presentation, to a young lady that I asked a few years ago to run for the school board, that graduated from this institution and that overcame a whole lot of disadvantages of birth. She had a great mind and a great heart, but she wasn't born in high places. But she became an engineer and a relentless advocate for fairness and justice. And I was proud to say that I was her principal. And to be honest, I'm also her relative. So thank you, Dr. White. Thank you, Mrs. Andrea Downer. Thank you, Mayor Elica. Thank you, Dr. Negron. Thank you, HICLIS, and all the union presidents. But we got to come together a little stronger than we were the last time around. And we all have to face the truth, tell the truth, and act on the truth. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Downer?
Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Thank you. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Negron. Thank you, Dr. White. It's been and everyone that have worked towards this. It's been a long time coming just to hear the fact that we are shifting from a reactive break fix model to being in a proactive approach, which is again going to reduce our long-term maintenance costs and improve our environment for our students and staff. Local 3144, I want to commend them, because they have also had worker pride and continuity. But bringing these positions back in will also increase that. Having consistent, permanent positions and unionized. School assigned staff fosters a sense of pride in maintaining our buildings, and which leads to long-term stewardship. So with that being said, I know I said a lot about this. I'm very passionate about this, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all your work. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Downer. Dr. Yarborough?
Yes, just quickly, I'm in support of the comments that have been made. Ms. Downer, I just want to thank you for bringing your expertise and insight, for raising this topic for us, and also raising it multiple times. And I can imagine that it takes quite a bit of dedication, confidence, willingness to push forward amidst what may be difficult, to be heard and understood and help others to see the light that you have known has been there. So thank you very much for that. Dr. White, thank you for doing the work in the investigation to take a recommendation and to explore it with our superintendent and district to see what is possible, what's feasible, and not just to crunch the numbers, but to also begin to put together a plan to see what would need to happen to make something possible and what the possible timeline might be. It's a little bit more than just taking a guess or doing a calculation on the back of an envelope to see what needs to be done. So it is your role and you're doing it well. And I thank you for that. And Dr. Negron, I thank you for your leadership in this matter.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Benitez, and then Mayor Elicker.
Yes, just wanted to say thank you to Dr. White. I know the road ahead is going to be bumpy. I know how whenever we do something that is beneficial, it is not easy. And I think what makes this road, or should make this road a little bit better, is that you have a board that will support you. We have come a long way. I mean, Ms. Downer has pushed, but we have all are coming together, even supporting some of her comments. And the way we are working as a team, not of 8, but a one team, is definitely a good example of how people listening to each other can grow and can improve what happens in a district. And I'm hoping that we can support your efforts, Dr. Negron and Dr. White. We do support unions, but we also have to remember that unions are composed by people who have salaries, and we are a poor city. So we all need to be very mindful about how we continue to advocate for increased funding so that we can deliver to these unions the right salaries that they do deserve. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mayor Elicker?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Is this going to have to come in front of the board, Dr. White, and do you know in what form?
I believe it's asking for giving Dr. Negron the authority to move forward with this plan.
But that's not tonight. That's at a different time.
We were hoping that we could add an action to the agenda if everyone felt like you had enough time to ask your questions, particularly around the timeline, as Dr. White highlighted. There's a lot of work that needs to happen to be able to do the transition. And knowing that we would also need to seek out a short-term transition contract. So the longer we wait, right, the longer that we're gonna have the overlap to ensure that we don't have disruption of services. We also know, and we're very cognizant, that all of this has to align and adhere to civil service requirements, which we know tend to be a little convoluted in terms of layers of things that need to happen before one is agreed, before the other can happen. So that is why Dr. White and I were hoping that if there was time for discussion today, that perhaps there could be a motion made to call for a vote on this item so that we can at least get the green light to move forward with the plan.
All right, thank you. Ms. Downer, is your hand up from previous or do you have it up again?
Previous, sorry.
All right. I'll just say, seeing that there's no other speakers lined up here, thank you for this presentation. It is something I do support. I also want to thank Ms. Downer. She's been a tireless advocate for that this needed to be rethought and we need to find ways to bring positions in-house. So I do appreciate that, that work. I also think that the reason why I think this is also able to happen is not only having somebody to call for that needs to be reviewed, but also us having the stability at the district administration level to be able to do the analysis and have the experience to take a look at this. I'll just, I've been on the board 7 years, and in my 7 years, this is the third superintendent I've worked with, the fourth chief of operations, if we count Mr. Carter, who was here on a contract position provided kindly by the city. So being able to have some stability in these positions, and also with the good hire of Dr. White into this new role, somebody that also had previous experience with the district. So I think that that's great. And I look forward to, as I know, as he's talked about in Finance and Operations Committee meetings, about this type of rethinking is working throughout how contracts are being put out there and rethinking a lot of things. So I do appreciate that. I do have two quick questions regarding this. One is, I assume in the financial information you presented, Dr. White, that the new contracts, because I'm trying to remember, we're in the process of negotiating with some of these unions. We've been negotiating and come to agreements with others. So is the numbers that were presented were with the new numbers for contracts that might be changing?
Yes, they are reflective of what we expect will be coming forward.
And then another question I had was related to is how inclusive is the budget in terms of all the pieces? I mean, obviously we know how much we pay the current vendor we're working with. Is the budget that was presented tonight, is that including the benefits and other types of costs for these positions? Like, for instance, I don't know if some of these positions might have to have industry certifications that we might have to pay to help people maintain. Is those costs accounted for in this?
I would have to check related to industry certifications if that's something we have to check with the union, like if that's something we provide the support on, or if the individuals are supposed to do those. But this is as inclusive of all costs that we can think of. If anything comes up, actually we'll be presenting that as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Wilcox, if I may.
Please, Dr. Negron.
To sort of reiterate a piece there from what Dr. White was sharing, what was done was to look at the current contract with this bargaining unit and lifting position titles that already exist that perhaps may not be currently employed because they existed many years ago. But we wanted to find ways that would make this process more efficient in terms of timing. And that's why we wanted to go and look at what were the positions that existed already within the bargaining unit contract. We also, knowing that there's a contract being negotiated, we don't know what that will result in, That is why when we are estimating salaries, we went towards the higher number on that range per each of the specific titles that are listed on the chart.
Mr. Chair.
First,
I'm sorry.
before you go, Dr. Joyner, Mayor Elicker.
I just want to be clear because to clarify what Dr. White said. So Dr. White, the budget that is presented on page 7 includes salaries, but it does not include benefits because they're not incurred by the Board of Education, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone's accurate about the budget. Thank you.
Dr. Joyner?
I think that this is a real important inflection point for union, school district, and city relationships. And in every possible situation where 2 or more parties are trying to get on the same page, there has to be some give and take in order to move to a position so that we can establish a new way of doing things and come together around how we, after we establish that, make sure that the powers that be are acting in accordance with what the law says regarding what we are owed and what have you. And so I think that what we clearly need is a good faith position on the part of all of us to recognize that we're nested in a system that is dependent on people beyond us doing the right thing. And that we have to bear the cost of educating children in the system and also maintaining a healthy and vibrant community. Our sidewalks, snow clearing, potholes, lighting, police services, fire services, the cultural things that we do that other cities don't do. And so that's critically important because there's no perfect way of doing this. But the best way to do this is if I am doing good for you, then in the words of Eric Roberson, do the same for me. And look at the whole picture without isolating your own particular issue and see it within the context of what we're dealing with as a community that has a city that has to be funded, a school system that has to be funded, and people that have to be paid fair wages. And so that's what concerns me. And one of the reasons that people like Martin Luther King and others were dangerous is because they were talking about power to the people. And that politicians are public servants that are obligated morally and legally to serve the needs of the people that elected them. And that's a real problem in this country at this particular time, but it's always been a problem. So as we move forward with this, where we may not have all the level of exactness that some people require in order to make a decision, it certainly is a morally defensible position. And I believe that Dr. White and Dr. Negron have worked very hard with Mr. Wilcox and Dr. Yarborough on the Finance Committee to make sure that it's fiscally responsible. But our ability to be fiscally responsible is contingent on the part of the people that fund us to be fiscally responsible. And that's something we should never forget, because it's a dynamic system that interacts with itself. And what's done in one sector affects what's done in another sector and what have you. So that's critically important. And I didn't mean to make this a college lecture on the history of labor movements and all like that, but you cannot ignore that stuff. And you cannot ignore the series of events and actions and policies and legislation that have brought us to this place. And what we're trying to do is unravel it and create a more righteous system that takes into account the needs of all of us. So I hope I haven't been too wordy, but some things take a long time to say.
All right, thank you. Does that conclude your presentation, Dr. Negron?
That does complete our presentation at this time.
Okay, and you, Dr. Negron, did request that the board consider whether or not we choose to add this to the agenda as a voting item. So is there a motion to add the transition to a self-operated facilities management to the agenda?
Mr. Chair?
Dr. Joyner?
I motion to add the matter. I motion to add the matter of transitioning to an in-house system to the board agenda for a vote.
All right, it's been moved.
I second.
I heard Dr. Yarborough first, so it's seconded by Dr. Yarborough. Is there any discussion? I'll just say that this is, while I'm in full support of this, don't know that I'm in support of adding this to the agenda. I might just vote no on this just because it's a large spending item and the information on it was not posted prior to the meeting. And, but it is something that I am in full support of. So I will support it if it comes to the vote, but I do have to raise that issue just as a personal principle of mine. So.
Yeah, I just think if there's a discomfort by anyone on the committee, I'd like to ask it, can it wait? Is it, like, if it were to wait till the next meeting, is there an issue?
Again, it can certainly wait. It's just that we are prolonging things 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the planning could be done, and we could, generally it's clear that there's positivity from the board on it, and I understand Mr. Wilcox's point about, given it wasn't posted, wanting to make sure that the board members have an adequate time to evaluate and the public has an opportunity to look at it too. So if it can wait, I understand these things. It's important for us to get them done quickly, but if it can wait, I think it's appropriate.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner.
I always believe that when you have people in your organization that are knowledgeable, that it doesn't make sense to ignore them. And, you know, almost any great team has people that are specialized, general and specialized. And you are a phenomenal, you become a savant in these matters. And I have a lot of trust and confidence in the mayor. I also understand Dr. Negron's issue around timing. But I think that there's always a tension between too much too soon and too little too late. I don't believe that 2 weeks is too little too late. And from a rational standpoint, I mean, I wouldn't object to a special meeting in 1 week, but I do understand the time pressure that Dr. Negron is, as well as the criticism that could come from, well, you know, we're going to do this, and now we're right back to where this and that. But I'm going to vote for this. I think I have enough information personally, but if there are people on the team who don't feel that way, then I think I have to respect that, particularly if one of them is a person that has spent 7 years of his life studying this, engaging in it. And since my superintendent had said that it's not gonna derail us if we have to wait a little longer, if I read you correctly, Dr. Negron.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct, Dr. Joyner.
Mm-hmm.
We can certainly add it as an action item and list it that way at the next Board of Education meeting.
Dr. Yarborough?
Yeah, I'm fine waiting. I'm fine voting. And I'm okay to withdraw my second if the first is withdrawn. I don't know that we need to vote on adding it to the agenda for it to fail.
I withdraw my motion.
I withdraw my second.
All right, thank you both. I'll just say that I do think that, just to reiterate my comments, or to add to them, I guess, I do think that there's a general approval from all of the board, it sounds like. And so I think some of this could move forward. Some of the next steps were planning, organization, bringing teams together. So there doesn't seem to be any possible showstoppers, but I do think just for maximum transparency, I'm glad we are waiting and glad that it's not going to create huge issues.
I like showstoppers. I like that word.
All right. Are there any other comments on this? The motion was withdrawn, so we will continue on with the agenda. That concludes everything, Dr. Negron, is that correct? Yes, the matter will be on the next meeting's agenda.
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on, is there a president's report?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just want to mention two things. One, for our Head Start committee, Mr. Juarez will be the chair of that committee, and Mr. Wilcox will be the vice chair of that committee. So I'm very appreciative for the leadership transition there, and Mr. Juarez continues to be dedicated, and I guess on this board, sometimes we have to be a fast learner, but you've been involved in the school district before you've been on this board. So thank you very much for stepping into that role. And also, Mr. Wilcox, thank you very much for leading this committee for the time that you have. My second comment is Ms. Downer is appointed and has agreed to serve as the board representative and leader for our elections for students to be members of the Board of Education. And I would like Ms. Downer to share some information as it relates to that. Ms. Downer?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Yarbrough, for putting me on this committee. It's very dear to me. For those that know, you know, I don't mind knocking doors or anything like that, getting out the vote. I love that stuff. And being on this committee, it also showed that, you know, just making sure that we're keeping these experiences for the students alive. Students are the ones that bring our immediate and relevant insights into our daily school operations, like technology usage or safety procedures and climate. And these are the things that the other board members may not see directly because they're there, they're our eyes. I've been working on the committee. The students right now have until April 23rd to turn their petitions in. All the board members are requested. I've requested, just sent out a save the date for May 28th, 2026. So if you can come on election night at 5:30 at City Hall. It's been a collaborative effort working with the city of New Haven. We've been working with Mr. Al Lucas, who is the Director of Legislative Services, Ms. Chanel Evans, which is the the Democratic Register of Voters. Dr. White and his team has been working diligently on this. And I forgot to mention, I should have actually mentioned her first, which is the Honorable Alder Kimberly Edwards. So we've been moving along and we're super excited for more students. We just, you know, we want to encourage the students that anyone that hears me and they're interested in running, that they should do so, you know, because I always think that, you know, it's okay to be the voice, you know, and each one reach one, you know. So I believe in this and thank you again for putting me on this committee. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Downer. And thank you very much, Mr. Juarez. Both of you have skill, attention to important detail, and passion for the work. So thank you very much for serving. That's all, Mr. Wilcox.
All right, thank you very much. If there's no comments and questions, the next agenda item is the Head Start Committee report. This, I guess, will be my last one, and it's just to tell you that our next meeting will be this coming Thursday at 5 p.m. Next is Facilities Naming Committee report. Dr. Joyner?
Board committee is the Teaching and Learning Committee, and it was left off of the agenda, I believe. And excuse this
If
phone, I
it's
thought
off,
I had
that
it on
is-
silence.
That is my mistake.
Don't worry about it. You know, it happens. So with your permission, just point of privilege, I'd like to give a brief TL report. The facilities naming is something that takes care of itself. As soon as Eric and I get the results in, I bring the results to the board, and we take our time because unfortunately, there's been a lot of low voter turnout with some of these things, and we have to get the publicity out there and let people know what we're doing. So, you know, we don't always have a report until we have reached a point of knowing that there's sufficient public support for the name. But TL is, I want to raise two issues related to teaching and learning, and it's not necessarily related to direct instruction in the classroom, but it is the kind of safeguards that we have against people coming to our schools as volunteers without being cleared by our superintendent and our human resource department. And I have to go back and look at the policy on volunteers, but I've been concerned about different programs that are exterior to the school system. They're saying that, you know, we can do something to help your kids, and then walking into schools without clearing that with the powers that be. And because sometimes they're there, the people that are there say, well, it must be all right because they're here. But we certainly need to look at our policy on who we put in front of other people's children. The people that are employed by us have certain legal status as well as certain legal responsibilities. But we're actually legally obligated whenever we are not watching stuff like that and someone shows up that professes good intentions, but does not necessarily have that. And as a former teacher, not former, I'll be a teacher until I stop breathing, but as a teacher and administrative college professor and school reformer, I've seen so many tragic things happen because the institution was not on the watch. And I'll be looking at that. I'll be talking to the superintendent and other board members about that particular issue. We are legally liable as an institution if we don't have a policy and a practice for vetting people that are not our employees that come into our schools. In fact, we're obligated, if there are parents that are a problem and constitute a breach of decorum and create issues for our staff and students, we're obligated to deal with that as well. So in a community like ours, in fact, in any community in the modern world, that can be a serious issue. So I'm asking Dr. Negron to look into the matter. I'm asking my fellow board members to look at our current policy and to determine if we have adequate safeguards for who we allow that are not employed by us to engage our children. And that's really important because that can hijack all the good things that we're trying to do in terms of teaching and developing the kids in the school system. And all it takes is one bad example. And we're on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and we're in the courthouse. So that's something that I consider a priority one. I'm done.
All right, thank you, Dr. Joyner. Next on the agenda is the Citywide School Building Committee report. Just briefly say that we did meet last Thursday. The facilities report is posted with the meeting materials for that meeting. One thing I'll just highlight, Giovanni Zinn, the city engineer, did briefly talk about the adult ed construction project and just mentioned that after some winter snow-related setbacks, things are back on track and we should be seeing a lot of activity on that site as things come together. So I just wanted to give a brief update on that. There's no questions about that. I will move on to the Finance and Operations Committee report. I won't get too deep into this because the minutes were posted with the materials for this meeting. Briefly, I'll just say that Mr. Young did present the food service budget update. The good news is we're running a small surplus in that budget, so that is good news. We had an excellent special education funding update from Ms. Jackson, and I'll just say, highly recommend people take a look at that because it just really was a good overview of all the challenges in the climbing costs associated with special education and some of the challenges that the district has as that takes more and more of the district's budget, which is it's a good thing in that we need to provide services and you know, morally and legally, et cetera, but it also is challenging because of the unequal school funding in the state of Connecticut. And then finally, I'll just say one of the things that we are going to be taking a look at is tweaks to the procurement policy. So if anybody has any suggestions for that, we are specifically looking about just adding some language related to guidance on how long the board will accept a sole source letter that does not have an expiration date. And then also some language has been requested from the district around education exceptions. And so we're going to be taking a look at that in a future meeting. And if there's no questions or comments on that, we will move on to the Governance Committee report. Dr. Benitez.
Yes, good evening, board members and the public. We have met and have the first reading for the board members for an amendment to the food service policy. This is to reflect the addition information on the share table or any other action that a school may take to ensure that there's less food waste. And that concludes my report. Thank you. I want to take a point of privilege. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention Mr. Mario Yepes, who is retiring from FAME. Mr. Yepes came to FAME when it was Columbus and we were expanding to the middle school. And he championed the Spanish program there and remained with us regardless of his plan was to retire a few years back, but decided to stay on for a while more. So I just want to make sure that I congratulate him in getting to retire and hoping that he will be able to visit Ecuador more often. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. If there's no comments and questions, we'll move on to the Food Service Task Group Committee. Dr. Yarbrough.
Thank you. The Food Task Force Committee did meet, and I'm appreciative of the steady servant leaders in this space and their roles. Just two things to mention. One, the summer meal partnership and distribution happened on this past weekend for summer break. And the school food service team is preparing for for spring break rather. Food was distributed this past weekend. And the food service team is preparing for food service during the summer break. And right now, applications are coming in for sites that can be distribution sites for school lunches and other meals during the summer. That's all, Mr. Wilcox.
All right, thank you. Next item is an executive session, so I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-206B and 1-210B to discuss strategy and negotiations with respect to pending litigation in the matter of Bernetta Hawley versus New Haven Board of Education, and discussion which may result in the disclosure of attorney-client privileged records.
Second.
It has been seconded, and before we vote, Dr. Negron, who will be joining us in executive session?
It will be Attorney Murphy and Attorney Barrera.
All right, thank you. If there's no discussion, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Yarbrough,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. We are in executive session.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We're just waiting for Dr. Joyner to come up. And waiting.
I'll sit on this and save you time.
All right. All right. Looks like we have everybody here, so we're back out of executive session. I have a motion to make. I move that we approve the settlement in Holly versus New Haven Board of Education in accordance with discussion from executive session and subject to approval of the City Litigation Settlement Committee.
Second.
It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Yarborough,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
She
Mayor-
said yes.
yep, Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Mr. Juarez.
Yes,
I'm a yes as well. The motion carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We shall vote. Mr. Juarez,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer, Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
Dr. Yarborough,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Arrivederci.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.